one of the things that people always talk about, right? Whenever we talk about police bias, people say, oh, it's in your imagination. But they don't only say that it's in our imagination, they make it believe like the circumstances were different. What I love about this video that I'm going to show you right now is we didn't have to talk about different circumstances. We just knew several things. We knew the police approached two fighting teens. We know the police did not know which teen instigated the violence. And we know that the police showed two distinctly different ways of dealing with the teens. When we've talked about having to teach put more money elsewhere, this is why we're saying, because the police is inherently an institution that has prejudice within its core. I want you to watch this, and then we'll take it on the other side. You cannot now say, oh, it's different circumstances, because this was the same event. Check this out.
You're talking to an Asian. Get up. Get up. Get up. You go outside right now. You go outside right now. You're talking to an individual. What do you mean? You know I can have my face. Oh shit. Come outside. Come outside.
Oh shit.
Yo.
No, bro. Chill. Brian, get out. Brian, leave. Holy. Holy shit. Oh no. Holy. Yo, it's because he's black. Racially motivated.
Now, if that doesn't tell the entire story, two teenagers fighting, the police approach. The police doesn't know who threw the first punch, if it's just a regular combined dispute with both of them just as guilty or what. What they do is they kindly put the white kid to sit down in the chair. They leave him alone. He's not a threat. And they jump on the back of the black kid, pin him down. After the other cop, instead of staying with the other perpetrator of violence, what did they do? They went and put their knees on the back of the black kid. Now, this is the same event. Many times whenever we bring these stories up, people say, oh my God, these are different storylines. You can't compare apples and oranges. Well, this was the same event. And, for those who say, oh, this is one instance, we have seen this repeated over and over and over again. And it gets old when we constantly have to hear that this isn't real. They always talk about the reason why they use that overpowering force is to protect the cops against the potential of somebody getting hurt. Well, these were two teenagers, right? Fighting with their hands. You remember the olden days, that's how we used to do it? I don't know about you guys, but in the olden days, yeah, I used to enjoy doing the little fight here and there. That's what these guys were doing. In fact, the black kid was protecting, from what I understand, a kid from being bullied by the white guy. And in the fight, in the process, the cops pull the white kid off, puts him in the chair, and forgets about him. He could have been armed. He could have had a gun. He could have had a knife. And then they jumped on the back of the black kid. And note, when they came, the white kid was on top of the black kid, beating the black kid, right? So it's not like you can say, oh, the black kid was overpowering the other guy. The only difference that was in that particular story was that we saw how the police react to two boys in a fight. Everything else equal, and they were nice to one, and they treated the other one like an animal. This is a constancy. Let me be frank. I've had several good interactions with cops. In fact, I got a cop commended because of how well he treated me. I blogged about it. I threw it up on the radio on KPFT 90.1, and his sergeant heard about it, called me up or emailed. I don't remember what happened, but after speaking to me and reading my blog, that particular officer got a commendation for being a good officer after I reported about it. So, I report the good and the bad. But the problem is that there are too many of them that are bad. And when I say too many that are bad, even those that don't do anything bad but are complicit, they are bad. Okay, because if they know of what's going on and they allow it to continue and they don't report it through the grapevine or whatever, they're bad. What happened to that young kid immediately showed that 14-year, I think it was 14 or something like that. Those two kids learned something very important from adults. They learned something very important. You may just look at it as, okay, the black kid got thrown in front, the cops made a mistake. But he didn't only make a mistake. He showed a supremacy in the thought process of teenagers, every single one of them watching there. Every single one of them say, what's the point? What's the point of being good? It was said that the black kid was defending another kid. Another kid. Okay? What's the point in being good? He may go and say, look at this. I am doing good, and I am the one that slammed on the ground, handcuffs thrown on. What's the point? So when these police officers do bad, when they show their vile racism and they do bad, it doesn't only affect that particular incident, but every kid that was watching know that, if I do this, I can get away with it, and he doesn't. That's why you can have that woman in Central Park saying, when she got mad at this black guy who told her to be quiet with her dog or something with her dog, she wanted to lash back. And she just said, hey, I'm going to call the cops and said you said that you try to attack me or whatever. She already knew what was going to what would have happened. That's what it's all about. And that's what those kids who watched that learned as well. There's a distinct difference in policing in America. And for all those folks that go out there and want to put their heads in the sand and, it's not true, it's your imagination, or the situations are different. This particular incident showed differences were not there. In fact, you saw from the beginning the white guy as the aggressor, and the black guy paid for it through the cops. Why, what's to give? When these guys show their hands up in the air and say, why be good? Doesn't pay. That's how some of them would look at it. I am there to tell them, you always be good. You always be moral. You always do the right thing. But that one incident with those cops proved to them that they were the lesser being, that those cops treated, not they were the lesser being, those cops treated them like the lesser being.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.